It's that time of year again. I know I'm coming from a strange angle from the living room, but in this case, it's a special occasion. We begin Christmas time. That's right, it's the day after Thanksgiving. Guess what it's time to do? It's time to put the tree up. So, we're also going to take a look at some films while we do this. We're not just going to take a look at any films. Again, we're going to do this. I did this last year. I'm going to do it again. We're going to take a look at some more of the Hallmark Channel countdown to Christmas movies. Yes, I'm going to do this because I love, just kind of looking at these and see how cheesy they are. But hey, cheesy or not, people do enjoy these movies and sit down and gather their families around and sit down and watch these movies. So while that's going on, we are going to put up the Christmas tree. Now, I would do this with Christmas lights, but that is a far complex thing with the house. And of course, I've already got my Christmas lights up on my house, so it'd be kind of redundant to do so. So what we're going to do is, as the film plays, we are going to put up the Christmas tree. So this first film that we are going to take a look at, I believe, came out last year. And so I don't have Hallmark Plus. I do have the Hallmark Channel, but I kind of want to do this freely. So these are films that are out, and they can be found on Hallmark Plus. So if you have the Hallmark Plus app, you can fire that up and watch these movies yourself, or go to your nearest Walmart and pick up the 6-movie countdown collection series on DVD. These are fairly reasonably priced. There's individual films and so on and so forth. So this one is featured on this collection. We're going to take a look at a 90s Christmas. I believe came out last year. I did catch a brief glimpse of this last year, but I had to leave for whatever reason and couldn't watch the rest of it to find out how it turns out. But it's a Hallmark Channel movie, so we're gonna watch this, and in the meantime, help put up or progress on the Christmas tree. It's gonna take a little while to do this, so let's tune in and see a 90s Christmas.
All right, then I'm gonna end on this. Okay, I spent this Christmas watching Hallmark movies, and I have cracked the code, ladies and gentlemen. This isn't so much funny as just me sharing my engineering material. I have figured out every Hallmark movie. I've figured out the formula. I've created a Hallmark generator to generate any Hallmark Christmas movie. There's 3 essential elements and 10 categories in every of those elements. And here we go. Okay, the lead is one of these things. An event planner, a real estate person, a nanny maid, an interior designer, a baker, chef, an executive, a romance writer, a famous actor, singer, a shop owner, or an advice columnist. That's it. That's all there are. And they are one of these places. The location is New York, Station City, back in time. North Pole, town with a Christmas name, small town in New York, small town in Colorado, small town in Vermont, small town in Maine, or small town in snow. That's it. That's all the possibilities. And they're all filmed at a small town in Canada. They are. That's where they're filmed. And the romantic lead is one of these things. A prince, a workaholic, an architect, an executive, a single father, a coffee shop owner, a high school flame, famous actor, singer, a son, working father, a Christmas tree farmer. That's it. That's all the movies. And I can prove it to you. I put it in a slot machine, okay? I've loaded those into a slot machine. You spin the wheel, you can get any one. A nanny maid goes to a fictitious kingdom and meets a prince. Been done. Crowned for Christmas. Dana McKellar, 2015. I rest my case. Let's do it again. I'm just going to prove to you this is true. I've loaded them all in there. A baker chef goes to a small town with snow and meets a high school flame. Swedish Christmas, Lacey Chabert, 2017. They're all in there. And just one more, just for grins. Okay, an executive goes to a small town and meets a son working for a father in Let It Snow, Candace Cameron Bure, 2013. That's it. You don't have to watch them anymore. I've solved the problem. Thank you.
Okay, before going into my review of this film, I thought it would be crucial to play the Don McMillan video where he just rips apart all the Hallmark Channel movies in one swoop. However, after watching this movie, you need to add one more category, Don, which is movie theft. Basically stealing plots that are very similar to other movies. Let me explain. This movie, A 90s Christmas, was not very good. It's probably one of the worst of the Hallmark movies. And matter of fact, this is after they had gone woke. Okay, so there's things in there that they have characters who are of a certain degree that are of a choice of a lifestyle that I'm not going to get into because they have gone woke by this point. And so they have to have those things in the film. So, that being said, this has movie theft in it. They stole ideas from a couple of other movies. Okay, so one movie they stole from was The Family Man from the late 90s, early 2000s, starring Nicolas Cage. And the whole premise of what would happen if to his life had he married that person and lived a life with that, with that woman. Instead of being a high-rise, successful lawyer, whatever he was, or broker, whatever he was. It's been a while since I've seen A Family Man, but it's basically A Family Man. And how Peggy Sue got married. They stole the premise from those two films to make A 90s Christmas. So, in this film, A 90s Christmas, we have, let me go through this. We have Ava Bourne playing the character of Lucy. Lucy is this very successful lawyer who is helping people with divorces and things like that, and so she's making a ton of money, and finally she makes partner. And so, also theft from Back to the Future, she receives a letter. And whenever she goes to change the time in the past, the letter gets erased. So technically they stole from 3 movies here. So what happens is she makes partner with this law firm, and her family is calling her, begging her, come back home for Christmas, please, we love you, we miss you, blah, 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 please come home for Christmas. So, and she's not going to, but then here comes this Christmas angel by the name of Grace and says, no, you're going home, and I'm gonna take you home. Back to home in 1999. Well, why 1999? It was because that's the year, the first Christmas without her father. Her father had died tragically. And so she begins to make alternative choices that would alter her future. And so, as you can see with this it's going back to 1999. She has to relive her life as a 19-year-old. Thus being a reference to how Peggy Sue got married. Kathleen Turner goes back in time to relive her life as a teenager. And where it's The Family Man is that she not only goes back in time, but begins to alter and see what her life would be like if she had stayed with this guy. So, thus having a happy ending, she makes the decisions that do properly alter her future, but properly alter her future, but also stay the main course of what her future is to be. She is to be a lawyer, a successful lawyer in the future, but also she's to be with this guy, and she's to have a family. She's not to spend any more Christmases alone. So, I wish I could say the same thing, but that's where I'm at. But anyway, as I said, we are on a goal here. We are on a mission here. So far, let me take the camera off the tripod actually, so that we can see this with the Christmas tree. So, I have gotten all the lights strung up on the tree. Now there's I'm not the best at the lighting of the tree, so let's go do a 360 degree. As you can see, maybe, there's a few characters here. Those are, sticking with the theme here, these are Hallmark keepsake characters. Matter of fact, I got this the last year they did the Storyteller series, and this is from Christmas Vacation. Of course, you need the proper power cord to do that. And here's Helen. And there is Audrey and Rusty. Yeah, because I think I went this way around. I went this direction, came back around. So, yeah, when you do this, it plays a scene or a edited couple scenes from the movie, and of course lights up with each character, and it needs the proper power cord. I don't entirely get how it forgot to zoom out, but I don't entirely understand how it works. Maybe there's a little bit of data because there is computer chips in it, and so it does talk to each other. But also I have a few other characters that require this power cord. So we got Ariel and Flounder here, which lights up, and we've got Mufasa and Simba under the starry night sky. So yeah, so we have a ton more to get through. So that's just a couple boxes right there, but also I've got a box in the hallway. Of course I had to, that's got some stuff in it too. So yeah, so this is the fun of the mess of getting Christmas ornaments out and decorating the Christmas tree. So let's get this back on the tripod. Yeah, there we go. So, yeah, readjust there. So, yeah, we are coming along. So, I'm going to take a quick break and maybe get something to eat. And we're going to start the next feature. So, let's go for that. Okay, so we're continuing on building the tree, and we're going to take a look at the next film. So, in this case, the next film we're going to watch is Hallmark has, for the past few years, been partnering with another greeting card company by the name of Dayspring. I need to look up and see if Hallmark actually owns this, but Dayspring is more of a Christian, faith-based company. And matter of fact, you see a lot of their greeting cards in stores like Hobby Lobby and so on and so forth, Christian bookstores and so on. So, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the film Following Yonder Star. This is one of their, this is the DVD that they released this year, part of this holiday season. Again, I'm sure it's on the Hallmark Plus streaming app. Yeah, let's check this out. Following Yonder Star. While we continue to apply the ornaments to the tree, we got the tree lit up. Yeah, now it's just a matter of putting all the ornaments on. So, let's roll the film, and we'll talk about the film and see how much we've progressed since then. So, here we go. Following Yonder Star. So, Following Yonder Star. This one starred Brooke d'Orsay, and Brooke plays this TV actress who is by the name of Abby, and Abby plays this well-known TV mom on a very famous show. And so what happens is she receives bad news after her show has been canceled that her then also on-screen ex-husband, well, they were married in real life and on the TV show, but once the show ended, their marriage ended, and the ex-husband gave the impression to Abby that he didn't want to have a family life, but he reveals to her that he's gotten engaged and is expecting a baby. Well, that is just devastating to Abby, to the point where she's at a local gift shop wanting to make a Christmas ornament and have it engraved and give it to him so that they can possibly rekindle the relationship. Well, that falls apart because the gift shop, she eventually takes it out on the gift shop owner. It goes viral, and so they see her flip out on social media. So her and her agent figure out the best thing for Abby is to move to a small town. Typical of the Hallmark Channel thing is move to a small town and kind of lay low for a while and kind of rediscover who she is. And there she meets Nick, played by John Brotherton, he's the owner and operator of this inn. Finds out that, goes into his story, that his wife died some time back and is raising his daughter and keeping the inn alive, which was his ex-wife's passion. And so Abby comes to this little town in Vermont, takes on the possibility of directing the Christmas play, but however, what happened to her virally has followed her to this little town, and so people are getting a lot of gossip, and eventually that gets straightened out. Now, this is a much better film than the previous film I just watched, because that previous film, A 90s Christmas, was so woke and so horrible. This is a proper movie I would show before that one, because it's about people are people, okay, and we all have our good side and we have our bad side, and our good side does want to outweigh our bad, but when we do bad things, boy, do we do bad things. I am guilty as charged. I can do some very bad things. I try not to, but it does happen. So this is also about forgiveness, and there's a lot of healing that took place in this film, because obviously on both sides they all needed they needed to come together and be a family. So as I pointed out, that this was, Hallmark tends to do Dayspring productions as well. Dayspring is a division of Hallmark. I was not aware of that, so because I knew that Dayspring is carried more in like Christian bookstores, and of course the Hallmark stores carry their greeting cards, and Hobby Lobby carries their greeting cards as well. But this is more, this is also a division of Hallmark, so that's why they're able to do make movies with Dayspring in mind. So and now Dayspring tends to be more faith-based, and this film also had at the core, one of the core things of the story is that the Star of Bethlehem would appear. It happens every so often, but they point out that the main character, he is a science teacher, studying the stars and things like that. And so he points out, while that this happens, the Bethlehem star, what we call the Bethlehem star, does reappear every so often. And so, and I think, yeah, so he points that out to her, that there's a reason behind the Bethlehem star. It was to guide the wise men to the baby Jesus, and it's a sign of hope, and it's guiding us to where we need to be. So that's where the good moral of the story happens there. So let's take a look at our tree, because we got a mission here. I am down to the last box. I still got to find a spot. There is still some spots on here. So, again, we'll take the camera off the tripod. Let's take a look here. So, tree looks pretty full, right? But we still got all this here, and that will be it. This thing right here is emptied, so we got some little ornaments there, and just this, and then our tree will be completely full. So I'm back to the tripod, and let me flip that back over so I can see myself. So, because I'm the cameraman, I do not have a film crew, sorry. So while this is still being worked on, we're going to take a look at one more film for this evening, and that will be the film. It's part of the 6 film collection. Again, if you find them in the Walmart stores or online, this one would be My Grown Up Christmas List from 2022, I believe. Let me look here. Yeah. I hate when they put the copyright year in Roman numerals, but so if I'm wrong, I'll correct it afterwards. We come back. So this one is My Grown Up Christmas List. This is loosely inspired on the Amy Grant song from the 90s. So yeah, we will take a look at My Grown Up Christmas List. So let's roll the film. Okay, so that was My Grown Up Christmas List. Came out in 2022 and is loosely based on the song that was sung by Amy Grant. As a matter of fact, Amy Grant's song is heard several times throughout the film. And the song was written or co-written by David Foster, who is a legendary songwriter, producer, written by David Foster and Linda Thompson. The story of the film has to do with Taylor Nichols, played by Kayla Wallace. She ends up coming back to her hometown to visit her grandfather several years. This takes place over a period of 3 or 4 years, and so she keeps meeting up with Luke Malone, who is a soldier in the army. And he comes back home for Christmas leave and participates in the Christmas holidays. But things, because they keep meeting up, Luke and Taylor fall in love with each other. So over time they become engaged, and they're planning a Christmas wedding. Well, there's a tragedy that strikes his military base, and he has to go help out at the tail end of the film. And so it's Taylor coming to grasp what she's getting into is that she's marrying a somebody who's in the military, and that she's realizing what she's risking, but it over time it has made their love stronger. The fact that he is so dedicated to protecting the nation. So, and it's, but, you know, lives, it depends on the lives of the reality of people. Sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't. And so, but this story has a happy one to where they eventually have the wedding at the end. And so, a little bit of behind the scenes truth to life is going on here, because the actors Kayla Wallace and Kevin McGarry, who play Taylor and Luke, they are engaged, or they're either engaged or they're married in real life. They met on the set. Leads Kayla Wallace and Kevin McGarry started dating each other in real life after meeting on the set of When Nature Calls. So, yeah, I believe they're married now. So, let's see here. Yes, they did marry. So, married last year. So, yeah, so it has a kind of a little nice touch to it. And also it says here, the title comes from the song My Grown Up Christmas List. Artists covering the song have included Natalie Cole, Kelly Clarkson, and Amy Grant. And of course, Amy Grant's version was used in the film. So, this was a part of Hallmark's Christmas in July lineup. So, yeah, because they do the Christmas in July, but also the countdown to Christmas whole thing. Is, but this one was a decent one. I don't know how often they play it, but this is definitely one that it's a good one. This one was also co-produced by Johnson & Johnson. So, you know, the soap company. Because of that, someone pointed out to me, and I never thought about it years ago. There's a reason why why they call them soap operas, for a reason. Because it was the soap companies actually producing the soap operas. So, like, there's a reason why you see Procter and Gamble at the end of several soap operas. You know, Procter. That's what Procter and Gamble makes. Johnson & Johnson makes soap products too, but they decided to go with this route because, you know, there's a lot of this goes into more the you know, the Hallmark Channel. There's a lot of, the demographic is more towards a female audience, so it's obviously it's people my age and female. So 35 on up, and so yeah, it is what it is. And so some of them, I think my grown up Christmas list is a decent one, and yeah, so on and so forth. So I'm gonna end this segment right now. We'll go on to the next one. The next tomorrow. So yeah, So we'll end it right there for right now. So stay tuned for the next feature. Well, now it's time for the next feature. So we're going to try to catch a live broadcast one. But before that, we're going to watch one that is on DVD. Now, this kind of leads into what tonight's live film will be. First of all, we're going to check out A Nashville Christmas Carol. So, and this one came out in 2020. It stars Jesse Scarum, Wes Brown, as well as country music singers Sarah Evans, Ray Lynn, Kix Brooks, Winona Judd, and Mrs. Brad Paisley, Kimberly Williams Paisley, in A Nashville Christmas Carol. Now, the live one we're going to try to catch is A Grand Ole Opry Christmas. So I've got my DVR set to record it simultaneously, but it'd just be easier just to watch it, and we'll talk about it later. But in the meantime, I'm watching this. I'm fixing me some dinner right now, so let's fire up our DVD players and or Hallmark Plus, whatever it is that you have to watch this, or even Amazon Prime. If you have Prime Video, you can watch these on there as well. Here is A Nashville Christmas Carol. Okay, so that was A Nashville Christmas Carol. Came out in 2020. Kind of a loose take on Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. There was some big differences that they added a twist to it, and saying that there is no Ghost of Christmas Present. Remember the Hallmark Channel generator? Okay. Again, we have a workaholic girl by the name of Vivian who is producing the Country Christmas Live television program, featuring the two big acts are played by Sarah Evans. She plays a singer by the name of, let me look up here, Belinda Manners. And Ray Lynn, who plays Alexis Reinhardt. Okay, and there's a little bit of a competition between the networks and the record labels and stuff like that on those two, even though there is no friction between the two of them whatsoever. And Vivian is our main character. She's the one who the story's centered around, and she's in a relationship with Gavin Chase, played by Wes Brown, and he's a music manager in Nashville, and that was his dream, to work in the music management side of things. And so there's the whole entire thing is the relationship between those two, how they grew up together, and of course she's always overworking and but thinking of others beforehand. So that's what the story is. And now where it becomes A Christmas Carol is that leads to Winona Judd's character, Marilyn Genway, who passed away. Her character passed away the previous year. And so she's the one that takes Vivian on the magical journey of reminding her who she is and Christmas and all that. So that leads to the Ghost of Christmas Past, played by Kix Brooks. And he takes her to what happened when she was a child, and how the loss of the mother, and how the relationship starts to bloom between her and Gavin. So he's showing the past. And then it goes into the Ghost of Christmas Present, played by Kimberly Williams Paisley. And she's more over the top character. Of course, if you know the Christmas Carol, if you know A Christmas Carol, that character, the Ghost of Christmas Present, is more like a Santa Claus-like character. So it's definitely over the top and joyful, and so that's what she's trying to pull off. And so it has a decent happy ending of her reminding where she came from, and that they kind of want to make it like It's a Wonderful Life type story, but it's more along. It's supposed to be a spin on Dickens' A Christmas Carol, just a country music centered version of it. So, with that being said, I'm going to pause right here. We're going to watch the live movie. We're going to watch a movie live. You're going to hear what I think of the thoughts of the new one that's about to debut in about 90 minutes or so. And that will be A Grand Ole Opry Christmas. So hold tight. So we'll be back in just a jiff. Okay, so here's what happened. I did a little boo-boo. But thankfully, I saved it onto my DVR. It recorded the whole thing. I misread when it was supposed to come on. I thought it was supposed to come on at 9 o'clock. It came on at 8. So I missed the first hour of the film. But luckily, I decided just let the DVR take care of it. So we're going to watch it now. This is going to be A Grand Ole Opry Christmas, which debuted last night on the Hallmark Channel. So, yeah, so we're going to fire up the DVR and watch the movie. So, let's watch the film. So that was A Grand Ole Opry Christmas. This one was definitely, it was quite interesting. It was more of it did have a little bit of the romance thing that Hallmark is known for, but this was more of a father-daughter story than anything else. And so we meet the character of Gentry Wade, who's a woman she grew up as the daughter of a country music superstar. Her dad was a member of a duo called Winters and Wade. And it's clear that Winters and Wade was breaking apart. They had a good run, but the last few albums were not successful, and they were trying to kind of reboot the system and become onto like Brooks and Dunn level. And so the whole thing centers around Christmas time at the Grand Ole Opry. And because that's when Winters and Wade broke apart in 1995. They went their separate ways. The Winters guy, he ended up having a huge successful solo career, while Wade chose to live a normal life and raise his family and just be a dad, and which is understandable. But his daughter, Gentry, had a passion to be this big songwriter and write songs with and for her dad. Well, but eventually that never happened. And so, in present day, they are setting up a Christmas celebration at the Grand Ole Opry, and they're going to honor Winters and Wade as part of their Christmas act for the present day year. But there's so much, if you know anything about the Grand Ole Opry and the country music, there is so much legacy and history that is involved in, especially tradition, not just Christmas tradition, but also country music tradition. And they explained why the circle in the middle of the stage, that was originally a part of the Ryman Auditorium, as well as the pews that sit off stage, and that is reserved for family of the artists. So, Gentry decides to, for all time's sake, during a presentation, just to sneak off by herself, sit down in the pew. And when she does that, she is magically transported back to 1995. As well as her boyfriend. He sits down at a later time and goes back to the exact same time, and they figure out what's going on. They go, oh my gosh, this is before Winters and Wade broke up. We need to find out what happened, why they broke up, and why, how, when, what, and why. And as it turns out, it was just, that it was all business. That Winters wanted to fill arenas and go big, hit it big and go on this world tour, while Wade was like, no, I'm gonna spend Christmas with my family. I'm gonna stay at home. And the manager is pushing, hey, give that stuff up. And of course, it's boiled down to what's more important in his life. And, of course, the daughter, Gentry, is there witnessing this as it happened in 1995. And she disguises herself as a executive from a record label. A fictitious record label by the name of NPR Records. And, of course, eventually they catch on that she's not a part of the record, but they never catch that they never figure out that it's Wade's daughter from the future sitting with them. And so interestingly, she has a moment where she finishes her song with her dad. And so, yeah, it's just, this one had a nice, sweet, family-oriented story behind it. And of course, there is the romantic stuff, but at the same token, it's it was more of a father-daughter story as opposed to overworking woman meeting single bachelor dude that works the Christmas tree farm. I mean, this wasn't that. This was, two people who are in the somewhat in the music business, and who have they're trying to figure out why things happen. But and also, of course, I didn't mention this, that Wade had passed away several years beforehand. And at first it could have been where you wanted to hate the Winters guy, especially the younger version. But as it turns out, he was not really the enemy. The enemy was the music business. And so, but he chose love and family over the business. And so, that's because the way the younger version of Winters is portrayed, he's kind of portrayed as kind of the jerk end of it, but he's really not. It's the music business is the music business, and it does not stop for family. And you see that eventually Wade makes up his mind to say, hey, I'm giving this all up for my wife, my daughter. I want to see my daughter win that songwriting competition. I want to see her live out these moments. And so that's what happens. It's a well-made family movie, and of course Christmas themed at the Grand Ole Opry, and it does have cameos from several real country music artists, such as Brad Paisley, who wrote and I don't know if wrote, but recorded some new Christmas music for an album, and some of those songs were featured in this film. As a matter of fact, there's advertisements to where to pick up the album, Brad's new Christmas album, to enjoy some of the songs that he's performed. Also, there's cameos by Pam Tillis, Bill Anderson, Jamie Johnson. Who else was in there? T. Graham Brown. These are legendary country musicians, and so it's it's just it is what it is. It's a Grand Ole Opry Christmas, and they one of the things that they capture is the legacy that is behind the Grand Ole Opry, because you don't know, because even Brad Paisley, he says in the film, he said but he's playing himself, as well as he provides the singing voice for Winters. So it's that I'm assuming that song is a part of the new Christmas album as well, but it's there for to say, no, that was Winters and Wade and so on and so forth. But Brad Paisley says, I've been playing the Grand Ole Opry for over 25 years, and he said, I still get nervous every time, because he said there's so much legacy that is in that place, and you don't know who's there. Just play or watch. And so, but yeah, a Grand Ole Opry Christmas. I think this is going to close out this whole video. So probably return next week with some more of them. So this one was probably a lengthy one. So On average, these movies are about 84 minutes, but when you watch it on TV, they do stretch it out to 2 hours. That means putting in the commercials and so forth. So you take out the commercials, it ends up being like 84 minutes. So, but yeah, do come back. We're going to continue the Hallmark Christmas movies. So bear with us. And so until next time, see you later.